Picture this. You're 39 weeks pregnant, standing on your front lawn, watching strangers throw your belongings onto the concrete. The sheriff just taped an eviction notice to your door, and then you feel it. Your water breaks. Right there, in front of everyone. You pull out your phone, someone sent you a link, you click it, and there's your husband, your millionaire husband, live streaming with his mistress, in a penthouse you didn't know existed, 200,000 people watching, reading comments, laughing. That's my daughter. That baby probably isn't even his. Grant's finally free. This isn't a movie. This isn't fiction. This is what happened to Claire Donovan. 3 years of marriage, destroyed in one calculated moment. But here's what her husband didn't expect. Claire didn't break. She fought back. And what happened next changed everything. Not just for her, for thousands of women watching. This is the story of the day Claire's water broke during her eviction. The day her entire world collapsed, and the day she discovered she was stronger than she ever knew. Stay with me, because this story gets so much more intense. In the ending, you won't see it coming. The first contraction hit as the sheriff's deputy taped the eviction notice to her front door. Claire Donovan stood on her front porch at 39 weeks pregnant, one hand braced against the door frame, the other cradling her swollen belly. The summer heat pressed down on her like a weight. Sweat dampened her maternity dress. Her feet had swollen beyond her shoes 3 days ago. She wore flip-flops now, cheap plastic ones from the drugstore. The deputy, a man in his 40s with kind eyes and a weathered face, looked uncomfortable. His name tag read Marshall. He cleared his throat. "Ma'am, I need you to step away from the entrance. We have to secure the property." "This is my home," Claire said. Her voice came out smaller than she intended. "My husband bought this house for me. For us, 3 years ago." "Yes, ma'am, I understand, but the foreclosure order is valid. The property has been seized due to non-payment." "That's impossible. Grant handles all the finances. He would have told me if there was a problem." Deputy Marshall shifted his weight. Behind him, 2 movers waited by a truck. Professional furniture movers, she realized. Not the sheriff's office. Someone had hired private movers to clear out her belongings. Her phone buzzed in her dress pocket. She pulled it out with shaking hands. A text from an unknown number. "Watching Grant stream? You're trending." Below the message, a link. Claire's finger hovered over the screen. She knew she shouldn't click it. Knew that whatever waited on the other end would hurt her. But she clicked anyway. The video loaded. Grant's face filled the screen. Her husband, 34 years old, handsome in that carefully curated way that looked effortless, but took 90 minutes of grooming every morning. His dark hair perfectly tousled, his jaw sharp, his smile wide and charismatic. He sat in a room she didn't recognize. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, expensive furniture, modern art on the walls, a gaming setup that must have cost thousands of dollars. And sitting in his lap, her legs draped over his, was Tessa Kane. Tessa, the gaming partner Grant mentioned occasionally, 26 years old, blonde, pretty in a way that made Claire feel ancient at 32. Grant laughed at something off camera. The sound echoed from Claire's phone speaker. That laugh she used to love. That laugh she'd heard on their first date, on their wedding day, in the delivery room when they'd seen Lily on the first ultrasound. The chat scrolled by on the side of the screen. "Where's the pregnant wife? This is savage. Grant's finally free, living his best life. That baby probably isn't even his. She's probably watching this right now, LOL." Claire's vision tunneled. The phone nearly slipped from her hands. Then she felt it, the unmistakable sensation of warm liquid running down her legs. Not a trickle, a flood. Her water had broken. She stood there on her front lawn in full view of her neighbors, with a sheriff's deputy and 2 movers watching as amniotic fluid soaked through her dress and pooled on the concrete beneath her feet. This can't be happening. If I don't move, if I just stay very still, this won't be real. The thought came unbidden. The exact thought every woman in crisis thinks when reality becomes too much to process. "Ma'am?" Deputy Marshall's voice seemed to come from very far away. "Ma'am, are you all right?" A cardboard box hit the driveway behind her. The sound was sharp, final. Claire turned her head slowly. One of the movers had started emptying the house. Her maternity clothes exploded across the concrete. Soft pastels, stretchy fabrics. The clothes she'd bought for this pregnancy. The clothes Grant had told her to put on his credit card. Our money is your money, babe. Buy whatever you need. The live stream audio kept playing from her phone, Grant's voice, Tessa's giggle, the constant ding of donation alerts. Claire looked down at the puddle spreading beneath her, then at the eviction notice on her door, then at her phone screen where her husband sat with another woman in an apartment she'd never seen. Her mind couldn't connect the pieces. This was her life. These were the facts, but they didn't make sense together. Another contraction hit, stronger this time. Her belly tightened like a fist. She gasped and bent forward. Deputy Marshal was at her side immediately. "Ma'am, you need medical attention." "I need my husband." "Ma'am, I need to get my hospital bag from inside. It's in the nursery closet. Pink duffel, please." She heard herself begging, heard the desperation in her voice, but she couldn't stop. The hospital bag had everything. The baby's coming home outfit, the tiny hat and booties, the blanket her mother had crocheted before she died, the birth plans she'd typed and printed and laminated. Everything she'd prepared for this moment was inside that house, and they were locking her out. "I'll radio for an ambulance," a deputy marshal said gently. "I can drive myself. Just let me get the bag, please. It has the baby's coming home outfit." I embroidered her name, Lily. Lily Grace Donovan. Saying her daughter's name out loud broke something inside her. Lily Grace Donovan, a name they'd chosen together. Grant lying in bed with his hand on her belly, feeling Lily kick. "What about Grace?" he'd said. "After your mom." Claire had cried, happy tears, grateful that he understood how much it would mean to honor her mother's memory. Had he been planning this even then? Had he been planning to take everything from her while pretending to give her what she wanted most? Deputy Marshal's radio crackled. His supervisor's voice came through sharp and impatient. "Marshal, proceed with property securing. No delays." "Copy. Medical emergency on site will proceed after EMS arrival." "Negative. Property secures first. EMS can handle medical." Deputy Marshal's jaw tightened. He looked at Claire, at the puddle beneath her, at the phone in her hand still playing her husband's live stream. Claire's phone rang. She looked at the screen. Patricia Donovan, Grant's mother. Her thumb hovered over the answer button. Some part of her still hoped. Maybe Patricia was calling to help. Maybe Patricia didn't know. Maybe this was all a terrible misunderstanding. She answered, "Claire, dear." Patricia's voice was cool, measured. "I'm watching Grant's stream. He's explaining everything." "Patricia, about the financial troubles, how you've been spending recklessly. He had to protect his assets. You understand, don't you?" Another contraction seized Claire. She couldn't speak through it, could only breathe in short, sharp gasps. "And really, Claire," Patricia continued, "you can't expect him to put his career on hold because you decided to get pregnant." "I decided?" The words came out strangled. "We decided, we planned." "Grant says you tampered with the birth control. He has proof, text messages, medical records, everything documented for the divorce proceedings." The phone nearly slipped from Claire's hands, not from the contraction this time, from the realization. Divorce proceedings, past tense, not something being considered, something already in motion. "I'm not crazy," Claire said. The words came out as a statement, firm, clear. "I know what happened. We chose this baby together." "Oh, sweetheart, you're obviously under a lot of stress right now. The hormones, the pregnancy, it's affecting your judgment. Grant's been very worried about you. He's been documenting everything for months." Documenting. Like she was a case study, a problem to be solved, evidence to be gathered. Claire ended the call. She couldn't listen anymore. Deputy Marshal was speaking into his radio again, arguing with his supervisor. The words washed over her without meaning. She stood there in her soaked dress, contractions coming 8 minutes apart now, watching strangers remove her belongings from her home while her husband live-streamed with his mistress and her mother-in-law called her crazy. The shock was absolute, complete. Reality had fractured into something unrecognizable. Deputy Marshal returned to her side. In his hands, he held her pink duffel bag. "I bent the rules," he said quietly. "You've got 2 minutes to sit in your car before I have to secure the premises. Ambulance it is 8 minutes out." Claire looked at the phone, at the deputy who'd retrieved it for her despite his orders. Then she looked at her driveway. Empty. "I don't have a car," she said. "What?" "Grant took it this morning, said it needed service for safety. Because of the baby." The words sounded absurd even as she said them. She heard the manipulation now, heard the setup. He'd taken her car so she couldn't leave. So she'd be trapped here when the eviction happened. So she'd be helpless, independent, and exactly where he wanted her. Deputy Marshall looked at the live stream still playing on her phone. At Grant in the penthouse she'd never known existed. At Tessa wearing what looked like Claire's missing diamond earrings, the ones Grant said he'd taken to be clean last month. That son of a... Marshall caught himself, his face flushed with anger. Not at Claire. For her. "Ma'am, I'll drive you myself." "You can't. Your supervisor, can write me up later. You're in labor. You're in distress. And I'm not leaving you on this lawn." He put his hand on her elbow. Gentle, respectful. The first kind touch she'd felt all day. Claire let him guide her toward the patrol car. Behind them, the movers continued emptying her house. Her life. Everything she'd built with Grant. Everything she'd believed was real. The nursery furniture she'd assembled. The crib she'd spent 3 days putting together because Grant was always too busy streaming. The rocking chair where she'd planned to nurse Lily. The mobile she'd painted by hand. Tiny moons and stars in silver and gold. All of it being thrown into a truck like garbage. Claire lowered herself into the passenger seat of the patrol car. The vinyl was hot against her wet dress. Deputy Marshall set her hospital bag at her feet. Then he walked around to the driver's side. Before starting the engine, he picked up his radio. "Marshall here. Medical emergency requires immediate transport. Property secured. Will file reported after hospital run." He was lying for her. To his supervisor. This stranger was lying for her. "Why are you helping me?" Claire asked. Marshall started the engine. The air conditioning blasted cold air that made her shiver. "Because somebody should," he said simply. "And right now, I'm the only somebody here." Claire sat in Deputy Marshall's patrol car as he navigated carefully through midday traffic. The squad computer glowed between them. The radio crackled with constant chatter. Other officers, other emergencies, other lives falling apart across the city. She counted the air freshener swaying from the rearview mirror. 1, 2, 3. The same way she used to count Grant's promises. "I promise to take care of you. I promise you can trust me. I promise this is forever. 1, 2, 3. All lies. The shock was wearing off now. Piece by piece, the physical pain of labor was nothing compared to the dawning comprehension of what had been done to her. "I've got 3 kids, Deputy Marshall said, breaking the silence. He kept his eyes on the road. "Know that ride to the hospital matters? Every pothole, every sharp turn, it all matters when you're in labor. Your wife must appreciate that." "My ex-wife, actually. She appreciated the new deputy in the next county more." "I'm sorry," Marshall shrugged. "Don't be. Best thing that happened to me was her leaving. Took me 2 years to see it, though. 2 years of wondering what I did wrong, what I could have done differently. And then I realized I didn't do anything wrong. She did. She made her choices. I made mine. We just weren't making them together anymore." Another contraction built. Claire gripped the door handle, breathed through it. 6 minutes apart now. Labor was progressing fast. Her hands moved automatically, checking her phone, locking it, checking again, locking again, checking again. 3 times, the compulsion of someone who knows something terrible is coming, but keeps hoping they're wrong. A text from Brooke appeared on the screen. "I'm watching the stream. I'm getting everything. Don't delete anything. Don't respond to anyone. I'm meeting you at the hospital." Brooke, her best friend since college. The only person she'd told when things with Grant started feeling wrong 6 months ago. The only person who'd listened without telling her she was being paranoid. Another text, unknown number. "You gold-digging bitch. Grant deserves happiness." Another, "How much did you steal from him?" Another, "That baby probably isn't even his." The messages kept coming. Dozens of them. Grant's followers. His fans. People who'd never met her but hated her based on whatever narrative he was spinning. Claire turned off her phone. Smart, Marshall said. Social media during a crisis is like pouring gasoline on a fire. He's burning me alive, and I'm worried about gasoline. Fair point. The police radio crackled again. Another officer asking about the eviction status on Willow Creek Drive. Claire's address. Marshall here, Deputy Marshall said into his radio. Medical emergency. Property secured. Continuing patrol. He was still lying for her. Still protecting her from having to explain. From having to justify her existence while in labor. A memory surfaced. Unbidden. Unwelcome. 2 years ago. Grant proposing. They'd been dating for 18 months. He'd taken her to the beach at sunset, down on one knee in the sand, a ring that cost more than she made in 3 months. I want to build a life with you, he'd said. A real life. Kids, Sunday mornings, growing old together. None of this influencer fakeness. Real. She'd believed him. God, she'd believed every word, because he'd looked so sincere, so earnest, like he'd finally found what he'd been searching for. Now she knew. He'd been searching for something, just not her. He'd been searching for the next storyline, the next character to inhabit, the next performance to perfect. Devoted husband, expectant father, family man, all roles, all fiction. Ma'am, Deputy Marshal's voice pulled her back to the present. Claire, you still with me? He asked me about my due date every day this week, Claire said. The words tumbled out before she could stop them. Every single day. What's your due date again, babe? When's the doctor think Lily will come? I thought he was excited. I thought he was counting down. He was counting down, Marshall said quietly. Just not for the reason you thought. He planned this. The eviction, the timing. He planned for my water to break while I was being thrown out of my home. Some men are cowards. They wait until you can't fight back. I'm about to push a human out of my body. You think I can't fight back? Deputy Marshall almost smiled. That's the spirit. But Claire wasn't feeling spirited. She was feeling something else, something cold and clarifying. The fog of shock was lifting. Underneath was a bedrock of fury she hadn't known she possessed. The hospital entrance appeared ahead. Brooke's car was already there, hazards flashing. She stood beside it, phone pressed to her ear, pacing. But behind her a news van pulled up. Channel 7. A reporter jumped out, camera operator in tow. How the hell? Marshall started. Claire looked at her phone, still off. But Grant's live stream was public. Anyone could watch. Anyone could see where she lived. Anyone could connect the dots. She was going to give birth with news cameras watching. Marshall pulled up to the emergency entrance, killed the engine, looked at Claire with something like apology in his eyes. You ready for this? Does it matter if I'm ready? No, I guess it doesn't. Brooke appeared at the patrol car door before Claire could open it. She looked fierce, professional. Her lawyer face was on. Don't say anything, Brooke said. Don't post anything. I've got you. Another contraction, stronger. Claire doubled over in the seat. When it passed, she managed to speak. He's narrating my life while I'm living it. He's rewriting our story in real time. I know. I have to document the truth. You have to give birth, Brooke interrupted firmly. That's all you have to do right now. Everything else can wait. A wheelchair appeared. A hospital volunteer, elderly woman with kind eyes. She helped Claire transfer from the car to the chair. Deputy Marshall set the pink duffel bag in Claire's lap. Good luck, ma'am. Thank you for everything. Just doing my job. No, Claire said. You did more than your J. You were kind. That's different. He nodded, stepped back, returned to his patrol car. Brooke pushed the wheelchair toward the entrance. The news camera swiveled toward them. The reporter started forward. Mrs. Donovan, do you have a comment about your husband's allegations? No comment, Brooke said sharply. Is it true you've been financially abusing your husband? No comment. When did you learn about the affair? Claire closed her eyes. Let Brooke handle it. Let someone else be strong for a minute. They pushed through the automatic doors into the blessedly cool, quiet hospital lobby. The noise from outside faded. Brooke leaned down close to Claire's ear as they waited for the elevator. Claire, I need to tell you something before we get upstairs. before things get more complicated. Claire opened her eyes, looked at her friend's face, saw the anger there, the protective fury, and underneath, something that looked like pity. What? Grant filed for divorce 3 days ago. The elevator dinged. The doors opened. Brooke pushed the wheelchair inside. It's being served tomorrow. He timed everything, the eviction, the stream, the filing. This is an impulse. This is calculated. Claire sat very still. 6 minutes apart contractions, water broken, in labor with her first child, and her husband had filed for divorce 3 days ago without telling her. She wasn't losing her husband in a moment of passion. She'd lost him months ago, maybe years ago, and she'd never even known. The elevator rose. Claire watched the numbers climb. First floor, second floor, third floor. Labor and delivery was on the fourth floor. 4 floors up, 4 floors away from the cameras and the reporters and the collapsing remains of her old life. 4 floors up to where her daughter would be born. 4 floors up to where everything would change. The elevator dinged again. Fourth floor, labor and delivery. The doors opened, and Claire's new life began. The labor and delivery room was too bright, too cold, too sterile for the destruction of an entire life. Brooke handled the admission paperwork while Claire sat in the wheelchair, contractions 4 minutes apart now, her mind fracturing between physical crisis and emotional devastation. A nurse entered. Her name tag read Sandra. She was in her 50s, competent and efficient. She'd seen everything, done everything. Nothing surprised her anymore. "Dad in the waiting room?" Sandra asked, wrapping a blood pressure cuff around Claire's arm. "No, Dad." Sandra's expression didn't change. "Support person?" "Me," Brooke said. "I'm her emergency contact now." "All right, let's get you changed and checked. These contractions are close." The bathroom was small and clinical. White tiles, fluorescent lights, a mirror that showed Claire exactly what she didn't want to see. Her makeup was streaked. Her hair was a disaster. Her pregnant belly strained against the soaked dress. She looked exactly like the crazy, dramatic wife Grant was portraying to 200,000 viewers. She sat on the toilet, unable to move. Just sat there, fully clothed except for the hospital gown half on. This was the moment. If she walked back out there, she continued this timeline. If she stayed here, maybe time would stop. "Claire?" Brooke's voice through the door. "You okay?" "No." "Fair. Can I come in?" "Sure, why not?" Privacy is apparently optional now. Brooke entered, saw Claire's position, saw the paralysis. Without a word, she gently helped Claire finish changing. It was the kindness that broke her. Claire started crying, real crying, the kind that comes from somewhere deep and primal, the kind that has no words. "He watched me decorate the nursery," Claire said between sobs. "Every night, Brooke, I'd show him paint samples, crib options. He'd nod and say, 'Whatever makes you happy, babe,' like he was humoring a child. Because he was already gone. When? When did I lose him?" Brooke helped Claire stand, guided her back to the exam table, spoke gently but firmly. "You didn't lose him, Claire. He was never yours to lose. He's a performance. You're just finally seeing the real show." A scream came from another delivery room. New life arriving somewhere in this hospital. Claire's was arriving too, into a life she hadn't chosen, into a reality she hadn't prepared for. Sandra returned with Dr. Helen Bartlett. The doctor was in her 60s, kind eyes, no-nonsense hands. She'd been delivering babies for 3 decades. She'd seen every variation of human drama play out in these rooms. "Let's see how far along you are," Dr. Bartlett said. The exam was quick, professional. When it was done, Dr. Bartlett pulled off her gloves. "You're at 6 centimeters, moving fast for a first baby. This little one wants out." "She's smarter than her mother already." Dr. Bartlett paused, looked at Claire directly. Really looked at her, not at the patient, at the person. "I've been delivering babies for 32 years, she said. "Never met a mother who wasn't smart enough. Just ones who loved people who weren't smart enough to love them back." Claire felt something crack inside her chest. The validation, the acknowledgement that this wasn't her fault. That loving someone who destroyed you didn't make you stupid. It just made you human. "I knew something was wrong," Claire said. The words came out as a statement, firm, clear. I knew it for months. I just kept thinking if I was good enough, patient enough, understanding enough, he'd come back. But he was never there to begin with. No, Dr. Bartlett agreed. He wasn't. Sandra re-entered with a tablet. Mrs. Donovan, there's been a request for your admission to be flagged as private. Someone's been calling, claiming to be family, demanding information. Grant. He's also sent a cease and desist order. Says you're not to use his name or image on any social media. His lawyers delivered it to our admin office 20 minutes ago. Brooke's head snapped up. He's doing what? There's more. He's requesting the hospital not allow him on the birth certificate without a paternity test. The contraction that hit Claire then wasn't just physical, it was the pain of understanding. He'd been planning this for months, every detail, every move. While she'd been picking out onesies and painting nursery furniture, he'd been consulting lawyers and building his exit strategy. Can he do that? Claire gasped through the pain. The birth certificate? He can request it, Sandra said carefully. Doesn't mean we have to comply. You're the mother. You have rights. Brooke pulled out her phone, started typing furiously. I'm getting an emergency protective order. He doesn't get to harass you during labor. Will that stop him? It'll make it illegal for him to continue. Whether that stops him is another question. Another contraction. Harder. Claire gripped the bed rails, breathed through it. Memories flooded back, unwanted, unstoppable. 6 months ago, Grant suggesting she quit her graphic design job. Let me take care of you, focus on the baby. Stress isn't good for her. She'd been touched. Her protective husband, her provider. 4 months ago, Grant insisting she use his credit card for baby stuff. Our money is your money, babe. Buy whatever you need. She'd felt provided for, loved, secure. 2 months ago, Grant saying the house was in both their names, equal partners, remember? She'd felt like a true partner, an equal, a wife, all lies, strategic lies, financial manipulation disguised as devotion. He'd been systematically making her dependent, stripping away her independence, her job, her money, her sense of security, and she'd thanked him for it. Sandra's phone buzzed. She checked it, looked at Brooke. Some silent communication passed between them. What? Claire demanded. What now? Brooke hesitated. Grant's mother just arrived in the waiting room with a camera crew. The room spun. Claire couldn't breathe. She's doing what? She's claiming grandparents' rights on camera, saying you're unstable and she needs to protect her grandchild. The anger that flooded Claire's system was almost chemical. Hot, clarifying, energizing. No, absolutely not. I don't care what rights she thinks she has. I'm not crazy. I'm not unstable. I'm the only person in this entire situation who isn't performing for an audience. Dr. Bartlett's voice cut through the chaos. I'm calling security. Nobody with a camera comes near this floor. Medical privacy laws exist for a reason. She picked up the phone, made the call, spoke with calm authority. Claire felt another contraction building, different this time, stronger, more insistent. Dr. Bartlett, I know, you're progressing fast. This baby's coming sooner than I thought. How soon? Could be an hour, could be 3. Hard to say with first babies. Brooke's phone rang. She stepped out to answer it. Returned 2 minutes later, face white. Claire, Grant just announced on stream that he's starting a charity for men going through financially abusive divorces. Of course he is. He's positioning himself as the victim, the wronged husband, the man whose gold-digging wife trapped him with a baby. And it's working. He's got $50,000 in donations already, in less than an hour. Claire closed her eyes. Of course it was working. Grant had always been good at telling stories, good at making people believe whatever he wanted them to believe. That was his talent, his gift. He'd made her believe he loved her, made her believe they were building a life together, made her believe she was safe, and now he was making 200,000 strangers believe she was a monster. Let him have his charity, Claire said. Her voice was steady, calm. Let him have his story. I know the truth. That has to be enough. But even as she said it, she wondered. In a world where perception was reality, where stories were currency, where truth was whatever got the most engagement. Was knowing the truth really enough? Another contraction. Stronger. Claire wrote it out, focused on her breathing. In her mind, she went to the nursery, the one she'd never see again, the wall she'd painted soft yellow, the mobile she'd made by hand, the rocking chair positioned perfectly by the window. All gone, all on a lawn somewhere, or in a truck, or already in a landfill. She'd built a nest for her baby, and while she was building it, her husband was planning to destroy it. "I want to push," Claire said suddenly. "Not yet," Dr. Bartlett said, checking the monitor. "You're at 8 centimeters, soon." "I want to push him off a cliff." Dr. Bartlett almost smiled. "That's the spirit. Channel that energy. You're going to need it." Claire gripped Brooke's hand, gripped it hard enough to hurt. Brooke didn't complain. "I should have seen it," Claire said. "The signs were all there. I just didn't want to look." "Stop it," Brooke said firmly. "Stop doing that thing where you blame yourself. This is not your fault." "I should have." "What, been psychic? Read his mind? You loved him." "That's not a crime. He's the one who weaponized it." The fetal monitor beeped steadily. Lily's heartbeat, strong, unconcerned with adult drama, just focused on arriving. Claire looked at the monitor, at the proof of her daughter's existence, at the heartbeat that would depend on her for everything. And something shifted inside her. Some fundamental reorientation of priorities. Grant didn't matter. The house didn't matter. The money didn't matter. The cameras and the charity and the 200,000 strangers didn't matter. Lily mattered. Only Lily mattered. "I can do this," Claire said, to herself, to Brooke, to the universe. "I can do this alone." "You're not alone," Brooke said. "I'm here and I'm not going anywhere." Another contraction. Transition was coming, the hardest part of labor, the part where women think they can't continue, where they beg for it to stop, where they say they've changed their minds, but there was no changing her mind now. Lily was coming. The world was changing, and Claire had no choice but to change with it. Dr. Bartlett checked the monitor again. "You're at 9 centimeters, almost there." "Almost where?" "Almost to the point where your old life ends and your new one begins." "My old life already ended. It ended on my front lawn 2 hours ago." "Then you're ahead of schedule," Dr. Bartlett said. "Some women take years to realize their old life is over. You did it in real time. That's progress." Progress? What a word. Like this was growth. Like this was development. Like losing everything was somehow moving forward. But maybe it was. Maybe sometimes you had to lose everything to see what actually mattered. Maybe sometimes destruction was just clearing space for something new to grow. Claire didn't know. She was too tired to know, too overwhelmed, too much in pain. But she knew one thing. She was not going to let Grant Donovan define this moment. This was her moment, her labor, her daughter. He could have his cameras, his charity, his story. She had the truth, and the truth was this. She was about to become a mother. And nothing, not even the destruction of her entire world, was going to stop that from happening. Transition labor hit like a freight train. Claire was at 8 centimeters, then 9. Then the pain became something beyond description, something transcendent, something that narrowed reality down to just this body, this moment, this impossible task. "I want to push," she said again. "Not yet," Dr. Bartlett repeated. "Your cervix isn't quite ready. Push too early and you'll swell up. Make it harder." "I don't care. I want this over." "I know, but we're doing this right, for you and for Lily." Lily, her daughter, her reason. Claire gripped the bed rails during another contraction. Every muscle in her body clenched. She thought the thought every betrayed woman has at some point. "I should have known." Everyone probably knew. They all probably pitied me. Stupid Claire, blind Claire, the wife who didn't see it coming. "Stop it," Brooke said sharply. "Stop what?" "That thing you're doing, blaming yourself. I can see it on your face. This is not your fault." "I should have." "What, been psychic? You loved him." "That's not a crime. He's the one who weaponized it." The fetal monitor beeped steadily. Lily's heartbeat, 140 beats per minute, strong, healthy, unconcerned with the chaos surrounding her arrival. Sandra entered with an update. Security has removed the camera crew from the building. Your mother-in-law is in the waiting room, but has been told she cannot access this floor without your permission. Good, Claire managed between contractions. Also, your husband called 3 times. We informed him we have no patient by that name. Privacy laws protect you here. He's going to love that. More evidence of my instability, keeping him from his child. You're not keeping him from anything, Brooke said. He abandoned you during labor. That's his choice, not yours. Bartlett moved to examine Claire again. All right, let's see where we are. A moment passed. Then Dr. Bartlett looked up with a slight smile. 10 centimeters. You are ready. Next contraction, you push. Fear spiked through Claire. I'm not ready. Yes, you are. I can't do this. You're already doing it. What if I'm not strong enough? Claire Dare, Bartlett's voice was firm. Your husband timed your eviction to your due date. He live-streamed with his mistress while your water broke. He filed for divorce while you were pregnant with his child. You've been surviving the unsurvivable for months. Pushing a baby out is going to be the easy part. A contraction built, different from the others. This one came with an overwhelming urge to bear down, to push, to finish this. Okay, Dr. Bartlett coached. Big breath in, hold it. Push like you're having the biggest bowel movement of your life. 10 seconds, go. Claire pushed. The pain was extraordinary, but it had a purpose. Physical pain she could understand. Physical pain had an end. Good, Bartlett said. Again, next contraction. Claire pushed again, and again, and again. Time became strange, elastic. She lost track of minutes, lost track of everything except the primal rhythm of her body doing what bodies had done for millennia. Somewhere in the middle of it all, a memory surfaced. 5 months ago, the moment she told Grant she was pregnant. They'd been trying for a year. She'd taken 3 tests, all positive. She'd planned a whole reveal. Rose petals scattered on the bed. The positive test wrapped in a tiny box with a bow. Grant had come home late, as always, smelling like cologne and expensive drinks. She'd shown him. He'd stared at the test for too long, long enough that her excitement started to curdle into anxiety. You're sure? He'd finally said. 3 tests, all positive. We're pregnant. We're pregnant. He'd repeated it like he was testing the words, like he was trying them on to see if they fit. Then he'd smiled, kissed her, said all the right things. I'm so happy, babe. This is amazing. We're going to be parents. But there'd been something in his eyes, something cold underneath the performance. She'd seen it and immediately pushed it away, told herself she was being paranoid, that he was just surprised, that men process differently than women. Now she understood. That was the moment he'd started planning her exit. That was the moment the countdown had begun. Claire, I can see the head, Dora Bartlett said, pulling her back to the present. One more big push. Come on, meet your daughter. Claire bore down with everything she had, push in. Every ounce of strength, every bit of fury and grief and determination. And then, with a sensation like the world splitting open, Lily Grace was born. The cry was immediate, loud, furious, the sound of a person announcing their arrival, demanding to be acknowledged. It's a girl, Dr. Bartlett said unnecessarily. Healthy and angry? Perfect. They placed Lily on Claire's chest, wet and warm and screaming. Claire looked down at her daughter, really looked at her. Dark hair plastered to her skull, scrunched up face, tiny fists waving. She looked like any newborn. Like every newborn. Utterly human and completely new all at once. Hi, Lily, Claire whispered. Hi, baby, I'm your mom. Lily's screaming quieted at the sound of Claire's voice. Her eyes open, dark blue, unfocused, but searching. She knows you, Sandra said, covering them both with a warmed blanket. She's been listening to your voice for 9 months. Claire started crying, not from pain this time, from something else, something that felt like grief and joy tangled together so tightly she couldn't separate them. This was her daughter, this tiny person who depended on her completely, who didn't know her father had abandoned them, who didn't know they had no home, who didn't know anything except that she was warm and safe and held. Lily would never know the father Claire had thought she was giving her, would never know the fairy tale family Claire had imagined, would never know the life Claire had planned. But maybe that was okay. Maybe the life Claire had planned was never real anyway. "Brooke, do you want to cut the cord?" Dr. Bartlett asked. Brooke looked shocked. "Me? If Claire's okay with it, since Dad's not here." Claire nodded. "Please." So Brooke, who'd been Claire's friend for 12 years, who'd been her maid of honor, who'd been the first person she'd called when things started falling apart, Brooke cut Lily's umbilical cord, the physical separation from Claire, the first moment of Lily being her own person, separate, independent. "APGAR scores are great," Sandra announced. 8 and 9. She's perfect. Perfect. What a word. Lily wasn't perfect. She was human, fragile, vulnerable. But she was here. She was real. And she was Claire's. Dr. Bartlett worked on delivering the placenta. Claire barely noticed. She was too focused on Lily, on counting her fingers and toes, on memorizing her face, on trying to understand that this person existed now, that she was responsible for another human life. "Do you want to try feeding her?" Sandra asked. Claire nodded. With Sandra's help, she got Lily positioned. Lily's mouth opened, searched, found Claire's nipple, and latched on. The sensation was strange. Not painful, but intense. Intimate in a way Claire hadn't expected. "She's a natural," Sandra said. "Look at her go." Brooke took a photo with her phone. "For you, not for posting. Just to remember." To remember, as if Claire could ever forget this moment. This feeling, this profound shift in her identity from one person to another. She wasn't just Claire anymore. She was Lily's mother. That would never change, no matter what Grant did, no matter what the courts decided, no matter what happened next. She was Lily's mother, and Lily was hers. Sandra cleaned Lily gently, weighed her, measured her. 7 pounds, 6 ounces, 19 inches long. "She's substantial," Sandra said. "Good size. Healthy girl." They wrapped Lily in a hospital blanket, put a tiny knit hat on her head, brought her back to Claire. "Do you have a name for the birth certificate?" Sandra asked. Claire looked down at her daughter, thought about Grant's last name. Donovan. A name Lily would carry, whether Grant deserved it or not. "Lily Grace," Claire said, then paused. Can I use just my maiden name? Miller?" Sandra and Brooke exchanged glances. "Legally, both parents need to sign the birth certificate," Sandra explained carefully. "Since he's not here and hasn't established paternity, we can file it with just your information for now. The name can include or exclude his surname. Your choice." "Lily Grace Miller," Claire decided. "For now, until I figure out what's best for her. Not Lily Grace Donovan. Not yet. Maybe not ever." Lily was asleep now, her tiny face peaceful, unaware of the complications surrounding her arrival, unaware that she'd been born into chaos, unaware of anything except warmth and safety and the sound of her mother's heartbeat. Claire closed her eyes, exhausted beyond measure. Her body ached, her heart ached, her entire world ached. But Lily was here. Lily was safe. Lily was fed and warm and sleeping. For this moment, that had to be enough. 2 in the morning. Lily slept in the hospital bassinet beside Claire's bed. Brooke was slumped in the corner chair, finally asleep after 18 hours of being Claire's advocate, defender, and support system. The world was quiet except for the machines beeping, the occasional cry from another room, the soft shuffle of nurses making rounds. Claire sat in the dark, holding her phone. She'd charged it finally. And now she was making the mistake of looking at it. Grant's live stream was still going. At 2 in the morning, he was still streaming. She shouldn't watch. She knew she shouldn't, but she couldn't stop herself. Grant sat on an expensive couch. Tessa was gone now. He was alone, looking earnest, vulnerable, the concerned father. "It's been an intense day, guys, but I'm feeling really free, Like I can finally be myself. No more walking on eggshells. No more being guilted for having ambitions, for wanting more than suburban mediocrity." The comments scrolled by. "You dodged a bullet, Grant. Gold diggers always show their true colors. That baby's probably not even yours. Take care of yourself, King. You deserve happiness. Claire sat there in the dark, 2 in the morning, alone, holding her phone in one hand, a hand pump for breast milk in the other because Lily wouldn't latch properly, and her milk was coming in, and the nurses said she needed a pump to keep her supply up. This is it, she thought. This is the moment I'll remember. Rock bottom. 2 a.m. alone, pumping breast milk while my husband streams our divorce to strangers. She almost laughed. The absurdity of it. The complete breakdown of any sense of normalcy. This was her life now. This was her reality. A knock on the door interrupted her spiraling thoughts. Deputy Owen Marshall stood in the doorway, still in uniform. He looked tired. "Shouldn't you be off duty?" Claire asked. "Worked a double, wanted to check in, heard the baby arrive safely. Congratulations." "Thank you." He held up a bag. "Hospital cafeteria's closed. Brought you a sandwich from the deli on 5th Street. New mothers need to eat." "You didn't have to do that." "My sister went through something similar. Her ex cleaned out their accounts the day after her C-section. She had people who helped. You should too." Claire took the sandwich. Turkey and avocado on whole wheat. Her favorite. She hadn't mentioned her favorite. He'd just guessed. Or maybe kindness wasn't as complicated as she'd been taught to believe. "Owen, the eviction. Is everything really gone?" He shifted uncomfortably. "I made some calls. Some items got accidentally placed in storage instead of being disposed of. The nursery stuff mostly. Figured you'd want it." "You did that?" "I bent some rules. Consider it a baby gift." Claire started crying again. She was so tired of crying, but Owen's kindness broke something in her. Some wall she'd built to get through the last 12 hours. "Where am I even going to put nursery furniture? I don't have a home." "You'll figure it out. Right now, just focus on her." He nodded toward Lily's bassinet. "She's the only thing that matters." Lily whimpered in her sleep. Both adults froze, waiting. She settled back down without waking. "She's beautiful," Owen said quietly. "Looks like her mom." "Thank God. Last thing she needs is to look like her father." The words came out bitter. Claire immediately regretted them. Even exhausted, even betrayed, she didn't want to be the kind of person who talked badly about her child's father. But Owen just nodded. "I understand. My ex used to say our kids were lucky they looked like me. Used to hurt. Now I take it as a compliment." His radio crackled. A disturbance call on another floor. Some drunk patient causing problems. "I need to go," Owen said. "But Claire, you're going to be okay. I know it doesn't feel like it, but you will." "How do you know?" "Because you're still here, still fighting, still caring about what's right. That's all you need." After he left, Claire ate the sandwich, drank the water bottle he'd also brought. The simple act of nourishing her body felt revolutionary. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "We're behind you. Moms who've been there." Another text. Another unknown number. "My ex did the same thing. You're not alone." Another. "Watching your story. Proud of you." The messages kept coming. Not hate this time. Support, solidarity. Women who'd been through similar situations. Women who understood. Claire's story was spreading beyond Grant's controlled narrative. People were seeing through his performance, finding the truth underneath. But Claire didn't feel vindicated. She just felt tired. Lily stirred, began to cry. The hungry cry that Claire was already learning to recognize. Claire set down her phone, picked up her daughter, tried to get her to latch. After 10 minutes of frustration, she gave up. Gave Lily the bottle of pumped milk instead. Lily drank greedily, her dark blue eyes fixed on Claire's face. Trusting, depending, not knowing anything except that this person fed her, held her, kept her safe. "I don't know what I'm doing," Claire whispered to her daughter. "I have no idea how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. I promise." Lily's hand wrapped around Claire's finger, squeezed with surprising strength. An instinct older than language. The grasp reflex. Newborns holding on to their mothers. And Claire understood. Lily was holding on to her. Lily needed her to hold on too. 3 weeks ago, Grant working late, for the 14th night in a row. Claire had driven to his office with dinner. The office he'd said was being renovated. The office that was dark and locked with no renovation signs anywhere. She'd called him, "Hey, where are you working tonight?" "At the office, babe. Can't talk. Big project." "Which office?" "I'm at the main one and it's dark." A pause. Too long. Calculated. "Oh, I'm at the satellite location. Didn't I tell you? New space for the streaming setup." "You didn't mention a satellite location." "Baby brain Claire, you've been so forgetful lately." "It's okay. Don't worry. I'll be home late." She'd driven home, eaten the dinner herself, told herself she was being paranoid, hormonal, ridiculous. Now she knew. Baby brain, forgetful. He'd been gaslighting her, making her doubt her own perceptions, her own memory, her own sanity. He'd been at the penthouse with Tessa, planning the eviction, planning the divorce, planning his exit strategy, and she'd apologized for bothering him. Claire looked down at Lily, at this innocent person who would grow up learning how to navigate the world, how to trust people, how to recognize love. What would Claire teach her? How to ignore red flags, how to doubt herself, how to accept less than she deserved. No, Claire would teach her the truth, that people who love you don't make you question reality, that kindness isn't conditional, that she deserved better than performance and lies. Even if Claire hadn't learned those lessons in time to save herself, she could teach them to Lily. Lily finished the bottle, Claire burped her, changed her diaper, put her back in the bassinet, watched her fall back asleep. 2:45 a.m., the deepest, darkest part of night, the time when new mothers sat alone with their thoughts and their babies and wondered how they'd survive. But Claire was surviving, hour by hour, moment by moment. Owen's radio crackled again, more noise in the hallway, male voice, angry, demanding. Claire's blood went cold. She knew that voice. Grant. Brooke woke up immediately, alert despite the exhaustion. "Is that?" "Yes." They listened. Grant's voice grew louder. "That's my daughter. You can't keep me from my own child. This is kidnapping. I'll sue this entire hospital." A security guard's voice. Calmer, professional. "Sir, you need to calm down. The mother hasn't authorized you to access." "Don't tell me to calm down. My wife is poisoning everyone against me. She's unstable. She needs psychiatric evaluation." Claire stood up despite the pain, despite the exhaustion, despite every instinct telling her to hide. "He's not talking to me," she said. The words came out clear, certain. "He's performing. Every word is for his stream viewers. Every accusation is content. I will not be his content." Brooke grabbed her arm. "Claire, don't." But Claire was already moving toward the door, opening it, stepping into the hallway. Grant stood 20 feet away, phone in selfie mode, streaming everything. His hair was perfect. His outfit was casual but expensive. He looked like a concerned father. He was a concerned actor. Their eyes met, and Claire saw it. The calculation behind the performance. The cold assessment of how she looked. Hospital gown, messy hair, exhausted. She looked exactly like he wanted her to look. Unstable, crazy, unfit. But she wasn't any of those things. She was exhausted because she'd just given birth. She was messy because she'd been in labor for 12 hours. She was in a hospital gown because she was in a hospital. Normal, human, real. Before either of them could speak, Patricia Donovan rounded the corner, also with her phone filming. "Grant, darling, I came as soon as I heard you were being denied access to your own child." Mother and son, both filming, both performing, both approaching. And Claire realized something profound. This was never about love. It was always about content. She wasn't a wife. She was a storyline. And now Lily was his next plot point. Over her dead body. Claire stepped fully into the hallway. Hospital gown and all. Postpartum body and all. No makeup, no armor. Just herself. "Grant." He adjusted his phone angle, getting her in frame, making sure his viewers could see everything. "Claire, thank God, baby, they wouldn't let me in. I've been so worried about you, about our daughter. Are you both okay?" His voice dripped with concern. Performance perfection, the caring husband, the devoted father. "Turn off the camera. I just want to see our daughter. I have a right." "Turn off the camera." The hallway fell silent. Even the machines seemed to pause. Everyone waiting to see what would happen next. Patricia tried to intervene. Claire, sweetheart, you're clearly emotional right now. Let's not make a scene. Think of the baby. I am thinking of the baby, which is why I'm not letting you film her without her consent. She's 2 hours old. She can't consent. So no cameras. Grant's expression flickered. Just for a moment. The mask slipped. Cold calculation underneath. Baby, you're being dramatic. I'm her father. I have rights to... You filed for divorce 3 days ago. The hallway gasped. Multiple people, nurses, security, other patients' families. Someone's phone captured the moment. Not Grant's stream, someone else's. This was spreading beyond his controlled narrative. You timed the eviction for my due date. Grant's jaw clenched, the performance cracking. You called your mother and told her to come with cameras. Patricia's phone wavered. Everything, the affair, the financial abuse, the public humiliation. It's all been content. I'm content. Lily's content. Our marriage was just season 1 of the Grant show. Claire stood there in her hospital gown, bleeding through her pad probably, exhausted beyond reason. And she thought, every woman who's ever been gaslit is watching through me right now. Every woman who's ever been called crazy, I have to stand. I have to hold this line. Brooke appeared beside her, professional, fierce. Mr. Donovan, I'm Ms. Winters, Claire's attorney. You've been served via email, which counts under state law, with a restraining order. You're to remain 100 feet from Claire and the baby until the hearing. That's impossible. This is a hospital. Then I suggest you leave the hospital. I'm not leaving without seeing my daughter. Owen Marshall stepped forward. Sir, you need to leave, now. While Grant's eyes narrowed, he looked at Owen, at Claire, at the cameras, calculating his next move. Are you kidding me? I'm Grant Donovan. Do you know how many followers I have? How much influence? I'll have your badge. You'll have my badge for what? Enforcing a restraining order? Sir, this is your last warning. Claire's voice cut through, clear and steady. You know what the saddest part is, Grant? I actually believed you loved me. Every lie, every manipulation. I believed it because I wanted to, but I'm done wanting things that were never real. Grant's face cycled through emotions. Anger, calculation. Something that might have been shame but probably wasn't. You'll regret this, Claire. I tried to do this nicely. I tried to let you walk away quietly, but you want to make a scene? Fine. I've got lawyers. I've got money. I've got public support. What do you have? Claire looked through the door of her room, at Lily's bassinet, her daughter, her responsibility, her future. I have the truth, and eventually, Grant, the truth always matters more than your performance. Their wedding day, 3 years ago. Grant's vows delivered with perfect sincerity. I promise to love you when it's easy and when it's hard, when you're young and when you're old, in sickness and in health, forever. The photographer had captured him looking into her eyes. It was still her favorite picture, had been her favorite picture, except now she saw what she'd missed then. He wasn't looking at her, he was looking at his reflection in her eyes, watching himself deliver the perfect performance. She'd married a ghost, a projection, a carefully constructed character. The real Grant, if there was a real Grant, she'd never met. Grant left. Patricia left. The hallway slowly emptied. Claire stood there shaking. Owen guided her back to her room. You did good. I feel like I'm going to pass out. That's adrenaline crash. Sit. Breathe. You just fought off 2 narcissists on 1 hour of sleep in a postpartum body. You're a warrior. I'm a mess. Warriors usually are. Brooke pulled out her laptop. Claire, you need to see this. If it's more of Grant's stream, it's not his stream. It's everyone else's streams. She turned the laptop. Social media was exploding. Not in Grant's favor. In Claire's. Someone had leaked the full divorce filing. The one Grant had tried to keep under wraps. The document where he listed all Claire's reckless spending. Every purchase itemized. Baby clothes, maternity clothes, nursery furniture, prenatal vitamins, doctor visits, hospital pre-registration. But the internet had found something. In Grant's old streams, videos where he'd discussed Claire's pregnancy, where he'd shown off the nursery, where he'd talked about how excited he was. Look at this crib Claire picked out. Isn't it perfect? Check out these baby clothes. Claire has such good taste. We're doing a natural birth. Claire's been taking classes. So proud of her. His own content proved he was lying. He'd approved every purchase, participated in every decision, celebrated every step. And now he was calling it reckless spending, calling her unstable, calling it financial abuse. The internet wasn't buying it. You're going viral, Claire. The right way. People are calling him out. His sponsors are pulling out. 3 major brands dropped him in the last hour. Claire looked at the screen, at Grant's subscriber count, dropping, visibly, hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands. The comments had shifted. Holy shit, Grant's a sociopath. Anyone else see how he lied about everything? That woman just gave birth alone while he was streaming with his mistress? This is disgusting. I'm done. Unsubscribed. She watched her husband's empire begin to crumble in real time. She didn't feel happy. She didn't feel vindicated. She just felt tired. Tired of the performance. Tired of the drama. Tired of caring what strangers thought. Lily began to cry. That was real. That mattered. Claire went to her daughter. Everything else was just noise. Day 2 in the hospital. The night had been long. Lily cried every 2 hours. The lactation consultant kept saying, just relax, as if relaxation was possible when your entire life had imploded. Claire sat in the glider by the window, Lily on her chest, both of them crying. This was the scene no one streamed. This was the part Grant's audience never saw. The 3 a.m. feedings, the cracked nipples, the postpartum bleeding, the terror of being solely responsible for a tiny human. This was motherhood without filters. Claire held Lily and thought, I have no home, no husband, no plan. My savings are gone. My credit cards are maxed from baby stuff Grant told me to buy. I'm 32 years old and I have nothing except this 8-pound human who needs me to have everything figured out. She almost laughed. The absurdity of it, the cosmic joke. But Lily needed to eat, so Claire tried again. Tried to get her to latch, failed again. Mixed another bottle of formula, fed her daughter, changed her diaper, sang to her softly. Brooke arrived with coffee and determination. Okay, action plan. My firm is taking your case pro bono. Brooke, you can't. We can and we are. Claire, you're not the first woman Grant's done this to. Claire's head snapped up. What? I did some digging last night. Grant's first wife. Before you, Rebecca Hartley, he divorced her similarly. She was pregnant too. Miscarried during the stress. Signed a draconian NDA in the settlement. But she's willing to talk now. His pattern is documented. He was married before? He scrubbed it from the internet, paid to have articles removed. But court records don't lie. Rebecca Hartley, married at 22, divorced at 23, NDA at 24. She's 30 now, lives in Chicago. And she's furious at what he's doing to you. So I'm not the first. I'm not crazy. There's a playbook. He's done this before. This is who he is. This is exactly who he is. And now we're going to make sure everyone knows it. Lily's cry shifted from upset to hungry. Claire lifted her shirt, tried again. After 10 frustrating minutes, she gave up, gave Lily the bottle. Lily drank, her eyes fixed on Claire's face, trusting, not knowing anything except this person fed her, held her, kept her safe. I don't know what I'm doing, Claire said quietly. Nobody does. You just do it anyway. 4 months into their marriage, Claire had found texts on Grant's phone, flirty messages with someone named Jess. She'd confronted him, hands shaking, voice barely steady. Who's Jess? Jessica from marketing. Claire, you're being paranoid. These messages seem more than professional. You're reading what you want to see. This is about your insecurity, not my behavior. Grant, Claire, I love you, only you. But this jealousy thing, it's toxic. If you can't trust me, we have bigger problems. She'd apologize. Apologize for being suspicious, for being insecure, for not trusting him enough. Her instincts had been screaming the truth, and he'd convinced her to ignore them, to doubt herself, to accept his reality over her own perception. Owen Marshall appeared in the doorway, out of uniform this time. Heard you might need these. He carried 3 boxes, the nursery stuff, the clothes, the blankets, the mobile Claire had painted. Owen, you didn't. Storage facility had a mysterious break-in, nothing valuable taken, just these boxes, real shame, incompetent security. Claire started crying again. Owen's kindness kept breaking her. She was so used to cruelty disguised as love. Actual kindness felt alien. Where am I even going to put this? I don't have a home. About that, Brooke said. My guest house. It's yours, for as long as you need. I can't accept. You can and you will. Lily needs stable housing for custody hearings. You need rest. I need someone to water my plants. Everyone wins. Brooke, Claire, listen to me. You don't have to do this alone. You can't do this alone. Let people help. A knock on the door. A woman in her 30s. Professional attire, nervous energy. Claire, I'm Rachel Summers. I used to work for Grant as his personal assistant. Claire tensed. I don't want to talk to anyone from Grant's. I'm the one who leaked the divorce filing. I have more. Much more. I've been documenting his behavior for 2 years. Financial records, text messages, everything. Brooke straightened. Everything? Everything. And I'm willing to testify. Because I watched him do this to you and before you to Rebecca. And I said nothing. I'm done saying nothing. Rachel opened her laptop, showed them a folder. Files and files. Bank statements, emails, screenshots. A timeline of manipulation spanning years. The penthouse? He bought it with money from his charity, the one he set up for underprivileged kids. The charity is a shell company. He's been funneling money through it for years. Brooke leaned in. This is federal crime territory. I know, I kept copies of everything. I was waiting for the right moment. Why now? Rachel looked at Lily, at this tiny person sleeping in Claire's arms. Because I have a daughter, she's 4, and I don't want her to grow up in a world where men like Grant win. Claire looked at this stranger who was risking everything to help her. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is going to get ugly. Grant doesn't lose gracefully. He's already lost. He just doesn't know it yet. Rachel smiled, small but real. I like you, Claire. Rebecca's going to like you too. Rebecca wants to meet me. She wants to help destroy him, and she's got resources. Her family has money. Real money, not influencer money. Old Chicago money. She's been waiting for someone to stand up to him. Someone he couldn't silence with an NDA. Claire looked down at Lily, at this innocent person who would grow up learning about the world through her mother's example. What kind of example did Claire want to be? The woman who stayed silent? Who accepted abuse? Who let Grant continue his pattern unchecked? Or the woman who fought back? Who protected not just her daughter but future victims? Who said enough? I'm in, Claire said. Whatever it takes, I'm in. Brooke grinned. That's my girl. Rachel pulled out her phone. I'm calling Rebecca. She's going to want to hear this. Owen cleared his throat. I should probably leave. This sounds like attorney-client privilege territory. Stay, Claire said. You've been kind to me. I trust you. And I might need a cop's perspective on some of this. I'm just a deputy. You're a good person. That matters more. So they sat there, Claire holding Lily. Brooke on her laptop, building a case. Rachel on the phone with Rebecca. Owen standing guard at the door. An army. That's what Brooke had called it. Claire was starting to believe her. She looked around Brooke's guest house living room. At the boxes Owen had rescued. At the laptop with evidence of Grant's crimes. At these people who barely knew her but were willing to fight for her. 6 months ago, she'd been planning color schemes for throw pillows. Now she was accidentally leading a takedown of a narcissistic millionaire. Life was so strange. Lily stirred, made the little grunting sounds that meant she'd be hungry soon. Claire adjusted her position, prepared for the next feeding. This was her life now. Feeds every 2 hours, diapers every 3, sleep in stolen 20-minute increments, all while building a legal case and trying to survive financially and emotionally. But she was doing it, hour by hour, moment by moment. She was surviving. And survival, Claire was learning. Learning was its own kind of victory. 1 week later, Brooke's guest house was small but perfect. Nursery set up in the corner. Lily sleeping in longer stretches now. 3 hours instead of 2. Claire's body was healing. Her mind was clearing. She sat at the small kitchen table at 2 a.m., Lily's favorite feeding time, and opened her laptop. For the first time in 8 days, she looked at social media. The landscape had shifted entirely. Grant's main sponsor, a gaming hardware company, had released a statement. We do not align with individuals who demonstrate financial manipulation and domestic cruelty. Contract terminated. His subscriber count was down 40%. His comment sections were filled with former fans demanding refunds. Apologies, accountability. But what surprised Claire was her own story taking on life beyond Grant. Someone had started a hashtag. # Claire Donovan Strong Women were sharing their own stories. Eviction during pregnancy. Financial abuse. Live-streamed betrayals. The stories numbered in thousands. She'd accidentally become a symbol. Not because she'd wanted to, because she'd survived. Claire sat there, breast pump on one side, laptop on the other, infant daughter sleeping in the bassinet. And she thought, 6 months ago I was planning color schemes for throw pillows. Now I'm accidentally leading a social media movement. Life is so goddamn weird. She almost smiled, a real smile. First genuine one in over a week. Her phone rang, unknown number. She'd learned to answer these now. Claire, this is Rebecca Hartley from Chicago. I hope it's okay that Rachel gave me your number. Rebecca, hi, I'm so sorry for what happened to you. Don't be sorry, be angry, and then channel that anger into destroying his carefully constructed empire. I'm not trying to destroy, then start trying, because he'll do this again and again until someone stops him. Rachel and I, we're building a case. Financial crimes, pattern of abuse, multiple victims. But we need you. You're the current victim. Your story is happening now. You have power here. Claire looked at Lily, at this tiny person who would grow up learning what kind of treatment to accept from people, what kind of love to expect. I'm not a victim, not anymore. I'm her mother, and I will not let this man define our story. That's the spirit. So here's what we need. They talk for an hour, Rebecca laying out the plan, federal investigation into the charity fraud, civil suit for the pattern of abuse, multiple victims coming forward, media strategy that didn't rely on social media performance, real legal action, real consequences. When they hung up, Claire felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. Not hope that Grant would come back, not hope that her old life would return, hope for something new, something real, something built on truth instead of performance. She opened Photoshop, her old friend, her creative outlet before she'd given it up to be Grant's supportive wife. Her hands remembered. Muscle memory, she created a logo. Simple, clean, powerful. Project Lily, supporting mothers escaping financial abuse. It wasn't ready yet, not public, but it was a start. A vision of what came after survival. 2 years ago, Grant asking her to quit her design job. She'd loved that job. Small agency, great clients, creative freedom, good money. But Grant had said, I make enough for both of us. Let me support you. Focus on being happy, on us. She'd thought it was love, protection, partnership. Now she saw the trap. Financial dependence, professional isolation, identity erosion. One decision, one yes. The beginning of losing herself. But here was the thing about losing yourself. Sometimes you found someone stronger in the process. Brooke burst through the door. Claire, emergency hearing tomorrow. Grant's demanding immediate DNA test and custody evaluation. He can't. He's claiming you're an unfit mother, using your homelessness and emotional instability as evidence. The judge granted the hearing. Fear spiked. Can he take her? Not if we show up prepared and we have Rebecca, Rachel, Owen's testimony about the eviction timing, Dr. Bartlett's medical notes. We have evidence. But what if it's not enough? Then we fight harder, Claire. You're not alone anymore. You have an army. Claire looked around the guest house, at the boxes Owen had rescued, At the laptop with her new logo, at Rachel's evidence files saved on a thumb drive, at Brooke's legal documents scattered across the counter, at Lily sleeping peacefully. I have more than an army. I have purpose. Her phone buzzed. Text from Patricia Donovan. Claire, please, can we talk? Just you and me. No cameras, no lawyers, mother to mother. It was obviously a trap, but what if it wasn't? Claire typed back. Coffee shop on Main Street, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. You come alone or I walk. She needed to know, needed to understand. How did a mother watch her son destroy women and say nothing? The answer might matter. For Lily, for understanding how to break patterns, how to teach her daughter to recognize manipulation, how to protect future generations. Or maybe it wouldn't matter at all. Maybe Patricia was just another narcissist. Well, maybe this was another performance. Claire would find out tomorrow. Tonight she had a logo to finish, a plan to build, a daughter to feed, a life to construct from the wreckage of her old one. She was Claire Miller again, not Claire Donovan, not Grant's wife, not a storyline or content or a performance. Just Claire, flawed, tired, strong, real. And that, she was learning, was enough. The coffee shop on Main Street was neutral territory, public enough to be safe, quiet enough to talk. 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, half full with people working on laptops and reading newspapers. Patricia Donovan sat in the corner booth. No phone visible, no camera, looking smaller somehow. Older, tired in a way that seemed to come from the inside out. Claire slid into the seat across from her, Lily and her carrier beside the table. Brooke waited by the door, arms crossed, ready to intervene if this became another performance. Thank you for coming, Patricia said. Her voice was different, quieter, without the sharp edge Claire had always associated with her mother-in-law. You have 10 minutes, Claire said. Patricia wrapped both hands around her coffee cup, like she needed something to hold on to. Grant is my son. I love him, but I'm not blind. Claire waited, said nothing. She'd learned that silence was powerful, that sometimes the best response was no response at all. I knew about Rebecca, the first wife. I told myself it was young love gone wrong, that mistakes happen, that people grow and change, but then I watched him with you. The same patterns, the same lies, the same systematic destruction. And I said nothing because he's my son. Why are you telling me this? Patricia's hands shook around her coffee cup. The tremor was real, not performed. Because yesterday he asked me to lie in court, to say I witnessed you being unstable, neglectful, unfit as a mother. He had a script prepared, wanted me to memorize it, practice it with him. She pulled out a piece of paper, slid it across the table. Claire looked down at Grant's handwriting, bullet points of things Patricia was supposed to say, each one a carefully crafted lie designed to make Claire look dangerous. And I realized, Patricia continued, if I do this, if I help him take Lily, I'm complicit in destroying another woman, another family, another life. So don't lie. It's not that simple. He's my son, my only child. If I testify against him, I lose him. He'll never forgive me, never speak to me again. I'll die alone without my son. You already lost him, Patricia. Or maybe you never had the real version. None of us did. Lily fussed in her carrier, that little pre-cry sound that Claire now recognized as hungry. Claire lifted her daughter out. Patricia watched with something like grief written across her face. She looks like him, Patricia whispered. My baby boy, when he was innocent, before everything went wrong. He's not innocent now. No, he's not. Patricia pulled out her phone. Her hands were still shaking. I'm going to show you something. And then I'm going to testify tomorrow. And Grant will never forgive me. But maybe someday, when she's older, Lily will understand why I did it. She opened a video file, turned the phone toward Claire. The video was old, maybe 15 years. Home camera quality. Patricia was younger, standing in a kitchen Claire didn't recognize. And Grant was there. Teenage Grant, maybe 15 years old. His face hadn't fully lost its boyish softness yet, but his eyes were cold, so cold. He was screaming at Patricia. The words were vicious, calculated to hurt, to manipulate, to control. You're pathetic. You know that? A pathetic woman who gave up everything for a man who didn't want you. And now you're trying to control me because you couldn't control him. Patricia in the video was crying, apologizing, trying to explain that she just wanted him to do his homework, that she loved him, that she was trying to help. Young Grant just got colder, more cruel, more precise in his emotional dissection. Don't pretend this is about love. This is about your ego. You need me to succeed so you don't feel like a failure. Well, I'm not your redemption project. I'm not your second chance. I'm me. And you don't get to take credit for anything I accomplish. The video ended. Patricia took the phone back, wiped her eyes with a napkin. He's been this way since he was young, she said quietly, since his father left when Grant was 12. I thought love could fix it. Therapy, patience, structure, consequences. I tried everything, but some people are just broken in ways mothers can't fix. You gave him everything and he learned nothing except how to take. That's not your failure. That's his choice, Mom. Patricia looked up, met Claire's eyes. Do you really believe that? That it's not my fault? I don't know. Maybe it's both. Maybe you enabled him. Maybe you should have done more. But he's an adult now. He makes his own choices, and he's chosen to hurt people. That's on him. Patricia nodded slowly, like she was trying to convince herself. I'm going to testify about the prenup. Grant made me witness it, told me you signed it willingly. But I was there, Claire. You were crying. He told you it was standard, that if you loved him, you'd trust him. That reading it meant you didn't believe in your marriage. Claire's breath caught. I signed a prenup? You don't remember? I remember him bringing papers home, multiple times, saying it was business stuff, investment documents, boring legal things he had to file. I trusted him. Patricia closed her eyes, pain etched across her features. He forged your signature on the real prenup, the one that gave him everything. The house, the savings, everything in his name, protected all his assets, left you with nothing. And he had you sign fake documents, simple forms that meant nothing legally. I witnessed the real one. I knew you hadn't actually signed it, and I said nothing. I'm so sorry, Claire. I'm so deeply sorry. The memory came flooding back. That night, 8 months into dating, Grant bringing home a stack of papers, just investment stuff, babe. Making sure our future is secure. Protecting both of us. Sign here and here and here. She'd signed. Trusting. In love. Not reading the fine print because he told her it was just technical jargon. That lawyers wrote everything in complicated language, but it was all standard. You're giving me access to your accounts too, right? She'd asked. Partnership. Equal. Of course, babe. We're a team. Equal partners in everything. The lie had been so smooth, so practiced, so complete. And Patricia had watched it happen, had witnessed the forgery, had said nothing. Patricia slid a thick envelope across the table. This is my testimony. Everything documented, proof of forgery, timeline of his lies going back to Rebecca, text messages he sent me planning your eviction, emails about paying Tessa through the charity. Everything I know, everything I witnessed. Give it to your lawyer. Why now? Why not years ago when he did this to Rebecca? Because I was a coward. I told myself it wasn't my place, that it was between husband and wife, that I didn't want to get involved. But really I was protecting myself, protecting my relationship with my son, protecting the image I had of him, the good boy I wanted him to be instead of the man he actually was. And what changed? Patricia looked at Lily, at this 3-week-old baby girl who was just starting to focus her eyes on faces, who was just beginning to recognize her mother's voice. I looked at my granddaughter and realized if I don't stop him now, he'll do this to her someday. When she's 29 and in love and trusting, he'll destroy her too. That's who he is. That's the pattern. And I can't live with creating that man and then protecting him from consequences. I can't let another generation suffer because I was too weak to act. Claire adjusted Lily in her arms, started to prepare for feeding her, the simple mechanical actions of motherhood that had become routine. You're right to hate me, Patricia said. I deserve it. I watched him destroy Rebecca, Watched him groom you, said nothing, did nothing. I'm complicit in everything he did. I don't hate you, Claire said, and she was surprised to realize it was true. I pity you. You spent 34 years raising a son who turned into this. You gave him everything and he gave you nothing back except manipulation. That's sad. That's tragic. But it's also reality. Will you forgive me? Claire thought about it, really thought about it. I don't know, maybe someday. But right now, you're here. You're telling the truth. You're helping. That counts for something. Patricia stood to leave, then paused, sat back down. Claire, there's one more thing. About the charity he's running, the men's rights fund that's making him look like the victim. What about it? He's been using it to pay Tessa monthly consulting fees, $50,000 per month for 6 months now, since before Lily was even conceived. Rachel has the bank records, but I have the contract, the fake consulting agreement he made Tessa sign. I witnessed that too. The timeline clicked into place with sickening clarity. He was planning this from the beginning, from before I even got pregnant, from before you even started trying to get pregnant. He told me 18 months ago he wanted out, that you were boring, that you'd served your purpose as the wife character, that he wanted to evolve his brand, go in a new direction, younger demographic, more edgy content. Claire felt like she'd been punched. I was a brand element. You were never a person to him, just a role in his story, wife, then mother, characters he needed for his narrative arc. And when the story called for him to be the wronged husband, the trapped man, the victim, he wrote you out. And you said nothing. I told myself it wasn't my place, that marriages were complicated, that maybe you were boring, that maybe he deserved better. I believed his narrative because it was easier than believing my son was a monster. Patricia stood again. This time she pulled out a business card. This is my therapist. I've been seeing her for 3 weeks, since this all started, trying to understand how I raised him, what I did wrong, what I could have done differently. She's helping me understand that I can't fix him, can't save him, can't make him be the person I wanted him to be, but I can stop enabling him. I can stop protecting him from consequences. I can tell the truth. Claire took the card. Thank you for this, for all of it. It won't make up for what you didn't do, but it's something. It's not enough. It will never be enough. But it's what I can do now. After Patricia left, Claire sat with Lily, fed her, burped her, processed everything she'd learned. Grant hadn't made an impulsive decision, hadn't fallen out of love, hadn't been seduced away by a younger woman. He'd orchestrated everything. 18 months of planning, financial manipulation, legal maneuvering, public narrative building, victim positioning, and she'd been completely blind to all of it. Brooke slid into the seat Patricia had vacated. You okay? I don't know what I am. That's fair. He never loved me, Brooke, not even in the beginning. I was always just a character, a role he needed filled. That says everything about him and nothing about you. Does it? Because I believed it. I believed every word, every performance. I thought I was special, chosen, loved. You were loving. That's different. He was performing. You were being real. Those aren't the same thing. Claire looked down at Lily, at this person who existed because Claire had believed Grant's lies, who was here because Claire had trusted, had loved, had been vulnerable. I don't regret her, Claire said. Whatever else happens, I don't regret Lily. Good, because she's the best thing to come out of all this wreckage. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Brooke pulled out her tablet. Okay, let's talk about tomorrow, the hearing. We have Patricia's testimony, Rachel's evidence, Owen's statement, Rebecca's deposition, Dr. Bartlett's medical notes. We have enough to bury him. Will it be enough for the judge? Judge Santos doesn't suffer fools, and Grant is definitely a fool, a criminal fool, but still a fool. We'll be fine. And if we're not, then we appeal, and we fight, and we keep fighting until Lily is safe and you have justice. That's what we do. Claire nodded, held Lily closer. Tomorrow would be hard. Tomorrow would be painful. Tomorrow would require her to sit in a courtroom and watch Grant perform concern and fatherhood for a judge. But tomorrow she'd have the truth on her side and an army of women behind her, and a mother-in-law who'd finally chosen truth over comfort. Tomorrow, everything would change. Again. But this time, Claire was ready. No. The next morning arrived too quickly. Claire dressed carefully. Simple navy dress, minimal jewelry, hair pulled back neatly. She wanted to look like what she was, a competent mother, a stable person, someone who could be trusted with a child's welfare. The courthouse was downtown, old building with marble floors and high ceilings. The kind of place where lives changed on the strength of words, in evidence, in judicial interpretation. Brooke met her in the lobby. Rebecca had flown in from Chicago, stood beside them in solidarity. Rachel arrived with a briefcase full of documents. Owen was there in his dress uniform, ready to testify about the eviction. They were an army, just like Brooke had said. Grant arrived with his lawyers, 3 of them, expensive suits, designer briefcases, the kind of legal representation that cost thousands per hour. He'd hired them with charity money, Claire now knew. Money meant for underprivileged children. Money he'd stolen. He looked good. Of course he looked good. Hair perfect, suit tailored, expression perfectly calibrated to communicate concerned father. Wronged husband. Man seeking justice. But Claire saw through it now. Saw the calculation, the performance, the cold assessment behind his eyes as he evaluated who was watching, who was filming, who mattered. They entered the courtroom. Judge Maria Santos presiding. She was in her early 60s, silver hair pulled back severely, reading glasses perched on her nose. She looked like someone who'd seen every variation of human behavior and wasn't impressed by any of it. This is a preliminary hearing regarding temporary custody and emergency day testing, Judge Santos began. Mr. Donovan, your motion? Grant's lead lawyer stood, tall man, silver fox type, voice like honey. Your Honor, my client has serious concerns about paternity given the timeline of conception and Ms. Miller's admission of prior relationships. Additionally, we have concerns about the mother's fitness. She's currently homeless, emotionally unstable, has made defamatory statements about my client on social media, and has denied him access to his newborn daughter during a critical bonding period. Your Honor, Brooke interrupted smoothly, Ms. Miller is not homeless. She's residing with me, an officer of this court, while her legal residence, which Mr. Donovan illegally evicted her from, is being recovered. As for emotional instability, we have medical documentation from Dr. Helen Bartlett showing Ms. Miller's exemplary composure during an extremely traumatic labor and delivery. Judge Santos held up a hand. I've reviewed the preliminary filings. Mr. Donovan, I have some questions for you. Grant stood, still performing, still confident. Yes, Your Honor? You live stream content online, correct? Yes, Your Honor. I'm a content creator. It's my profession. And you were live streaming on the day your wife went into labor? Yes, Your Honor. I had a scheduled stream, a commitment to my audience. A commitment to your audience was more important than being present for your child's birth? Grant's lawyer jumped in. Your Honor, my client was not informed of the labor. Ms. Miller failed to contact him. Is that true, Ms. Miller? Judge Santos asked. Claire stood. Your Honor, my phone was functional. Mr. Donovan had the number. He was welcome to call at any time to check on me. Instead, he was live streaming from a penthouse apartment I didn't know existed, with a woman I'd been told was merely a gaming partner, while I was being evicted from my home and going into premature labor. Judge Santos turned back to Grant. Mr. Donovan, I watched portions of your live stream from that day. You discussed your wife's eviction in real time, correct? Grant shifted, uncomfortable for the first time. Yes, Your Honor. I was explaining the situation to my viewers. You were narrating your wife's trauma for entertainment purposes while it was actively occurring. I was sharing my truth, Your Honor. Your truth, I see. Judge Santos shuffled papers. I also have testimony here from Rebecca Hartley, your first wife. She describes a remarkably similar pattern of behavior. Financial manipulation, public humiliation, abandonment during crisis. Can you explain these similarities? Grant's lawyer stood. Your Honor, Mr. Hartley signed an NDA. Her testimony is inadmissible. An NDA procured under duress is not legally binding, Counselor. Ms. Hartley has provided evidence that she was coerced into signing while under extreme emotional distress following a miscarriage. The NDA is void. The courtroom went silent. Grant's face cycled through emotions: anger, fear, calculation. Judge Santos continued, I also have financial documents provided by Rachel Summers, Mr. Donovan's former assistant. These documents show systematic charity fraud, tax evasion, and wire fraud. Mr. Donovan, you're aware that federal investigators have been notified. Your Honor, those documents were obtained illegally. Ms. Summers had legal access to those documents as your employee. She's protected as a whistleblower under federal law. Grant's lead lawyer stood again, trying to regain control. Your Honor, none of this is relevant to the custody question. Our client simply wants DNA confirmation and reasonable visitation with his daughter. Does he? Judge Santos looked directly at Grant. Mr. Donovan, why do you want custody of this child? The question hung in the air. Direct, simple, impossible to answer with performance. Grant opened his mouth, closed it, tried again. She's my daughter, Your Honor. Is she? You've requested DNA testing because you doubt paternity. You've made public statements questioning whether the child is yours. You've denied financial support. You've attempted to deny your name on the birth certificate. These are not the actions of a man who believes this is his daughter. Your Honor, I've been advised by counsel to protect my legal rights. Your legal rights, not your daughter's welfare. Your rights. Silence. Judge Santos looked at Patricia, who sat in the gallery. Mrs. Donovan, I believe you have testimony to provide. Patricia stood, walked to the witness stand, was sworn in. She didn't look at Grant, kept her eyes on the judge. Mrs. Donovan, you witnessed the prenuptial agreement signing between your son and Ms. Miller, correct? Yes, Your Honor. Please describe what you witnessed. Patricia took a deep breath. My son brought Claire to our home. He had her sign documents. She was crying, asked if she could read them first. He told her that asking to read them meant she didn't trust him, that if she loved him, she'd sign, that questioning him was questioning their entire relationship. She signed without reading. And were those the actual prenuptial documents? No, Your Honor. Those were fake documents, meaningless forms. He had her sign them to make her think she'd complied. The real prenup, the one I witnessed and signed as a notary, had her forged signature. My son forged her signature and had me notarize it. The courtroom erupted. Grant's lawyer was on his feet. Your Honor, this is clearly a coached testimony. Mrs. Donovan, do you have proof of this? Patricia pulled out a folder. I have the original documents. Both sets. I kept copies. I know it was wrong. I know I should have spoken up. But I'm speaking now. Judge Santos reviewed the documents. Her expression hardened. Mr. Donovan, this is fraud. Criminal fraud. Grant's lawyer was scrambling. Your Honor, we need time to review these allegations. No more time. I've seen enough. Judge Santos looked at Claire. Ms. Miller has full temporary custody. Donovan, you'll have supervised visitation pending DNA results, which you'll pay for, and completion of parenting classes and psychiatric evaluation. You're also ordered to pay child support retroactive to birth and to cover all medical expenses related to the birth. Additionally, I'm referring this case to the district attorney for investigation of fraud, forgery, and perjury. This hearing is adjourned. The gavel fell. Claire sat very still. It was over. This part, at least, she'd won. Lily was safe. She didn't feel triumphant, just exhausted, grateful, relieved. Brooke hugged her. Rebecca hugged her. Rachel was crying happy tears. Owen gave her a thumbs up from the back of the courtroom. And Patricia approached slowly, uncertain. Thank you, Claire said simply. It's not enough. It will never be enough. But it's what I could do. It's what you did do. That's what matters. Patricia looked at Lily, sleeping in her carrier through all the drama. May I hold her just once? Claire hesitated, then nodded, lifted Lily out, placed her carefully in Patricia's arms. Patricia looked down at her granddaughter, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, little one. Sorry I didn't protect your mother. Sorry I didn't stop your father. But I promise you, from now on, I'll do better. I'll be better. She handed Lily back, walked away without another word. Claire watched her go. This woman who'd enabled so much harm, but who'd finally chosen the truth. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was something. And sometimes, something was all you got. 3 months later, Claire's new apartment was small, but it was hers. One bedroom with a converted den for Lily's nursery. Second floor walk-up in a quiet neighborhood. Furniture from Target and thrift stores. Nothing matched. Everything was mismatched and secondhand and perfect. The lease was in her name. The utilities were in her name. The life she was building was hers. Built on truth instead of performance. On reality instead of Instagram-ready lies. Lily was 3 months old now, a completely different creature than the newborn who'd arrived during chaos. She smiled now, real smiles that lit up her whole face. She cooed and babbled. She tracked faces with her eyes. She was becoming a person. Every morning, Claire woke to Lily's sounds from the nursery, not crying anymore. Just those little wake-up noises that said, I'm here, I'm awake, come get me. And every morning Claire went to her, picked her up, changed her, fed her, talked to her about the day ahead. Today we're meeting with a new client. They want a logo redesign. What do you think? Should we go bold or subtle? Lily would smile, or spit up, or grab Claire's hair. Standard baby responses that somehow felt profound. Claire freelanced now. Graphic design, the skill she'd abandoned when Grant convinced her to quit her job. The skill that came back like muscle memory, like her hands had just been waiting to create again. She worked during Lily's naps, during the brief windows when Lily was content in her bouncy chair. She worked late at night after Lily's bedtime. She worked on weekends when Brooke came to babysit. It was hard, exhausting. Some days she cried from stress and loneliness and fear that she couldn't do this. Couldn't be both mother and breadwinner. Couldn't build a business and raise a baby and heal from trauma all at once. But she was doing it, one day at a time, one client at a time, one invoice paid at a time. She caught her reflection in the bathroom mirror while washing bottles at midnight. Yoga pants with a small stain from where Lily had spit up earlier. T-shirt that was definitely not clean. Hair in a messy bun that had started neat 12 hours ago. No makeup, dark circles under her eyes. She looked exactly like every other tired mother. Exhausted, overwhelmed, running on coffee and determination. And for the first time in years, she was okay with being ordinary. Because ordinary was real. Ordinary didn't require cameras or filters or followers or constant validation. Ordinary was sustainable. Ordinary was honest. Ordinary was enough. Her phone rang, Rebecca calling from Chicago. Claire, did you see? See what? Grant's channel, everything. It's all gone. Claire opened her laptop, balanced it on her knee while holding Lily's bottle in her other hand. Rebecca was right. Grant Donovan's entire streaming empire had been scrubbed from the internet. Channel deleted. Social media accounts suspended. Website down. What happened? Federal investigation went public. Tax evasion, charity fraud, wire fraud, identity theft from the prenup forgery. The platforms deleted his accounts to avoid being implicated. He's done. Completely done. Claire waited for the feeling, the vindication, the triumph, the satisfaction of watching him fall. Instead, she felt nothing. Not happiness, not even relief, just a mild sense of closure. Like finishing a book she'd grown tired of reading. Grant didn't matter anymore. He was just a person who'd hurt her once, not a villain, not a monster, just a broken person who broke other people. And now he was facing consequences. That was justice, not revenge, just natural consequences of his own choices. How are you doing? Claire asked. Really? Good, really good. I started my own consulting business, helping women in tech navigate hostile workplaces and document harassment. Turns out surviving a narcissist gives you a very specific skill set. Is that what we have? A skill set? We have superpowers. We survived the unsurvivable. We rebuilt from nothing. We turned pain into purpose. If that's not a superpower, I don't know what is. They talked for another 20 minutes. making plans for Rebecca to visit next month, discussing Project Lily's expansion, laughing about the absurdities of single motherhood and late-night coffee consumption. When they hung up, Claire looked at the website she'd built, Project Lily, supporting mothers escaping financial abuse. It had launched 6 weeks ago. Simple website, contact form, resources page, list of lawyers who work pro bono, list of shelters that accepted mothers with newborns, financial planning to guides for starting over with nothing, emotional support resources, everything Claire wished she'd had. The response had been overwhelming. 200 emails in the first week, women sharing their stories, women asking for help, women saying thank you for making them feel less alone. Claire couldn't help them all. She was still barely keeping her own life together, still figuring out how to be a mother and run a business and pay bills and sleep occasionally. But she was building something, with Rebecca managing the legal referrals, Rachel handling the financial resources, Patricia funding it as her ongoing penance, Owen volunteering security consultations for women planning to leave, Bartlett connecting them with hospital social workers who could help during pregnancy and postpartum. They were an ecosystem, a community, women helping women, breaking cycles, creating change. One woman at a time, one mother at a time, one survivor at a time. Claire's journal lay open on the coffee table. She picked it up, read what she'd written last night during Lily's 3 a.m. feeding. I'm not the same person Grant married. That woman died in a hospital hallway when she finally stopped performing for cameras. This woman, the one with spit up on her shirt and bills she can barely pay, and a business she's building from nothing. This woman is real, flawed, tired, strong, mine. She added a new entry. Today Lily smiled at me, not Guyams, not reflex, a real smile, recognition, joy. She knows me, she loves me, not because I'm performing, not because I'm pretending, but because I'm here, because I'm real, because I show up every day and choose her. That's what love is. Showing up. Being real. Choosing someone over and over. Not performance. Presence. A knock at the door interrupted her writing. Brooke with a bag of takeout and a bottle of wine. Dinner and legal documents, the two essentials. Claire let her in. They spread the food across the coffee table. Thai curry and spring rolls and mango sticky rice. Comfort food that required minimal dishes. Okay, Brooke said, pulling documents from her briefcase. Your divorce is finalized. Signed by the judge this morning. Claire took the papers, looked at them. Her marriage officially over. Dissolved. Ended. 3 years of her life reduced to legal language on stamped documents. How do you feel? Brooke asked. I don't know. It's strange. I thought I'd feel something big. Relief or sadness or anger, but I just feel neutral, like closing a book I finished reading. That's healthy. That's healing. The settlement came through too, Brooke continued. Grant's facing jail time, so he didn't fight anything. You get the house back, full ownership, plus back pay for all the consulting work you did for his business. He made you his unpaid graphic designer for 3 years. That's wage theft. You're owed. How much? Brooke slid another document across. Claire looked at the number, blinked, looked again. That's a lot of money. That's fair compensation. Take it, use it, pay off debt, build savings, invest in Project Lily. Whatever you want, it's yours. I don't want his money. It's not his money, it's your money that he stole by making you work for free while pretending it was wifely support. There's a difference. Claire looked at her name on the documents. Claire Miller, not Claire Donovan. She'd taken back her maiden name officially. Lily's name was Miller too now. No connection to Grant except biology and court-ordered supervised visits. He tried to make me disappear, Claire said quietly. Tried to erase me, make me nothing. A crazy wife, an unstable mother, a gold digger, a liar. He wanted me gone. And instead, he made you visible, made your story matter, made thousands of women realize they weren't alone. Unintended consequences. The best kind. They ate in comfortable silence. Lily slept in her swing nearby. The apartment was warm and full of food smells and friendship. This was home. This mattered. There's one more thing, Brooks said. Local news wants to interview you about Project Lily. National interest, human interest angle. Survivor builds organization to help others. That kind of story. Claire's first instinct was to refuse, to hide, to stay small and safe and invisible. But then she thought about the 200 emails, the women who'd written thank you, the ones who'd said your story gave me courage, the ones who were still trapped and looking for a way out. What would the interview involve? Just you talking about Project Lily, about resources for women, about financial abuse and how to recognize it, about survival and rebuilding. Nothing about Grant specifically unless you want to mention it. I don't want to be famous. You won't be famous. You'll be visible. There's a difference. Famous is about ego. Visible is about impact. Claire thought about Lily, about what kind of example she wanted to be. Did she want to teach her daughter to hide, to stay silent, to make herself small? Or did she want to teach her to speak up, to use her voice, to help others? Okay, Claire decided, I'll do the interview, but on my terms. No cameras in my home, no footage of Lily. Just me talking about resources and hope. Deal, I'll set it up. 2 weeks later, Claire sat in a neutral interview room at the local news station. Professional but not glamorous. Real but not raw. The interviewer was a woman in her 40s. Kind eyes, gentle questions. They talked about Project Lily, about the resources available, about financial abuse and how it often looked like love, about warning signs and exit strategies and survival. They talked about hope, about rebuilding, about the fact that losing everything sometimes meant finding yourself. And at the end, the interviewer asked the question Claire had been dreading. What would you say to women who are currently in situations like yours was, who are pregnant or postpartum and realizing their partner has been manipulating them? Claire looked directly at the camera, thought about all those women who'd emailed her, all those women still trapped, all those women wondering if they were crazy. You're not crazy. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Trust your instincts. Document everything. Build your exit strategy quietly, and know that on the other side of leaving is a life that's real. It won't be easy. It won't be Instagram perfect. But it will be yours, and that's worth everything. The interview aired 3 days later. Her phone exploded. 500 new emails, media requests, speaking invitations, women wanting to share their stories. Claire was overwhelmed, terrified, but also energized. This mattered. This was bigger than her, bigger than Grant, bigger than any individual story. This was a movement. Women helping women, breaking silence, creating change. 1 month after the interview, Claire attended Grant's supervised visitation. The family center was neutral, clinical, designed for high conflict situations. Grant looked different, smaller somehow, less polished. He'd lost weight, his hair wasn't perfectly styled. He wore regular clothes, not designer labels, just a regular person. He held Lily awkwardly, still didn't quite know how to support her head, how to read her cues, how to be a father instead of performing fatherhood. She's gotten so big, he said. That's what babies do. Does she? Does she ever ask about me? She's 3 months old, Grant. She doesn't ask about anything. She doesn't know you exist. He flinched. Good. He should flinch. He'd earned that pain. I'm sorry, he said. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Claire looked at him, really looked at him. Not at the husband she'd loved, not at the villain who'd betrayed her, just at a human person, broken, damaged, facing consequences. Are you sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught? He thought about it. At least he thought about it. Both. Mostly that I got caught. I'm working with a therapist on that. On why I do what I do. Good. Do that work. Not for me, not for Lily, for yourself. Because this, she gestured at the supervised room, the court-ordered therapy, the destroyed career, the criminal charges. This is what performing your whole life gets you. Emptiness. I know. Do you? Do you really know? Or are you just saying what your therapist told you to say? I don't know. I don't know what's real anymore. Then figure it out, because Lily deserves a father who's real, not a father who's performing. And if you can't be that person, then be honest about it. Let her go. Let us go. She gathered her things, prepared to leave. Claire? What? You look good. Happy. Real. I am real. For the first time in years, I'm completely real. She left without looking back. 6 months after that day on her lawn. 6 months after her water broke and her world collapsed. 6 months of survival and rebuilding and learning who she was without Grant's narrative. Claire's apartment was full of morning light. Lily was babbling in her crib, not crying, just making those happy morning sounds that meant she discovered her toes or her hands or the way light filtered through the curtains. Claire went to her, picked her up, changed her diaper, sang the good morning song she'd made up. Good morning, Lily girl. Good morning, sunshine. Good morning to your toes and your nose and your eyes. Lily smiled, grabbed Claire's hair, laughed when Claire pretended to be hurt. They went to the kitchen. Claire made coffee one-handed while bouncing Lily on her hip, a skill she'd mastered through necessity. The single mother one-handed shuffle. Her phone showed a notification. Project Lily had helped its 1,000th woman. 1,000 women now connected with resources, legal help, emotional support, safe paths out of dangerous situations. 1,000 women. Because Claire had survived. Because she'd spoken up. Because she'd been willing to be visible. She thought about calling someone to celebrate. Brooke, Rebecca, Rachel. But it was early, and this moment felt sacred. Just her and Lily in the morning light, and the knowledge that something good had come from something terrible. New client inquiry appeared in her email. Corporate rebrand, real money, the kind of job that would cover 3 months of expenses. She responded, set up a consultation, added it to her calendar. Life was ordinary, beautifully, perfectly ordinary. Wake up, feed baby, change diapers, answer emails, design logos, pay bills, grocery shop, do laundry, make dinner, bath time, bedtime, repeat. No drama, no crisis, no cameras, no performance, no live stream trauma, no public betrayal, just life, real life, honest life. Lily finished her bottle. Claire burped her, set her in the bouncy chair, gave her a toy to bat at, watched her daughter discover the simple joy of making things move. This was everything, this ordinary morning, this simple routine, this real life built on truth instead of lies, on presence instead of performance, on showing up instead of looking good. Claire picked up her journal. The last page was almost full. Soon she'd need a new one, a fresh start, another chapter. She wrote, we're going to be okay, better than okay. We're going to be real. And real, I've learned, is the best thing we can be. Not perfect, not Instagram worthy, not impressive to strangers. Just real, just here, just us. Lily made a happy sound, that laugh-coo combination that meant joy, pure, uncomplicated joy. Claire looked at her daughter, at this person who existed because of choices Claire had made, who would grow up in the life Claire was building, who would learn about love by watching how her mother loved her. Not performative love, not conditional love, not love that required cameras or witnesses or validation. Real love, the kind that showed up at 3 a.m., the kind that stayed through spit-up and tantrums and exhaustion, the kind that chose someone over and over, every day, every moment. We made it, Lily girl, Claire whispered. We survived, and now we get to do more than survive. We get to live. Lily smiled, reached for her mother, held on tight, and Claire understood. This was victory, not revenge, not vindication, not Grant's suffering or karma balancing or justice being served. This ordinary morning, this real life, this simple joy, this was what winning looked like. She'd survived the unsurvivable, and on the other side was everything that mattered. A daughter who knew she was loved, a life that was honest, a future that was hers. The rest was just noise. And Claire had learned to tune out noise. She had better things to listen to now, like Lily's laugh, like the morning birds, like the sound of her own voice saying, "I love you," and meaning it without performance or pretense or fear. This was freedom. This was peace. This was home. And it was enough, more than enough. It was everything. So that's Claire's story. From the lawn where her water broke to the courtroom where she won, from rock bottom to running an organization that's helped over 1,000 women escape financial abuse. If Claire's story resonated with you, do me a favor, hit that like button. It helps other women who need to hear this find it. Drop a comment below. Tell me what part of Claire's journey hit you hardest. Was it the confrontation in the hospital hallway? Patricia's testimony? That final moment of peace? And if you know someone who needs to hear that they're not crazy, that their instincts are right, that survival is possible, share this video with them. Sometimes one story can change everything. Subscribe to the channel for more real stories about real people surviving the unsurvivable. Because these stories matter. Your story matters. And the more we talk about financial abuse, manipulation, and gaslighting, the harder it becomes for people like Grant to get away with it. Remember what Claire said, you're not crazy. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Trust your instincts. Document everything. And know that on the other side of leaving is a life that's real. It won't be easy. It won't be perfect. But it will be yours. Thanks for listening to Claire's story. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. And remember, surviving is just the beginning. Living is what comes next.